Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, MV Chu and Leon. Hope you guys are well. Leon, we'll quickly start. I know Chu's kind of watching a bit of it as we speak, but we'll just touch on Inoue. He fought on the weekend. I think it was last night, Sunday night in Japan, but during the day over here, I think. But yeah, I caught it today. He fought. It was the guy Kokijim. He's a Thai dude, right? He's a little beast, man. Naoya Inoue. This Thai dude, I know he's part of the Cocky Gym, but I think his real name's Karoon, and we need Naoya to pronounce the surname, so sorry for that. Stopped him in the 10th. Looked impressive. Combination punches, left hook to the body's beautiful. Had a few lapses of, I don't know, switched off or I don't know what. There were two occasions where he started to do the walk away and just getting caught with punches, and he got hurt a few times. It seemed a bit bad, but it was hard to tell just because of the quality of the stream I was watching. I think it was like 360p, so it is what it is when you're watching 360p streams. But he always impresses me. Again, I think he's hurt his hand, so he might have some more time out. But if Roman Gonzalez beats, Cuadras, probably preview later, and he stays at 115, I think that's the eventual clash they're looking for. But Leon, your thoughts on the fight quickly?
Like you said, he's a little beast, and I'll always watch him. He's got a come forward aggressive style, and he's exactly what I like in a boxer. But he's open to straight punches possibly, but it would be interesting to know, because I didn't know anything about the guy he was fighting, but could he punch? Because if he can punch, he took some good shots, and it means he's got a chin. But I don't know enough about his opponent to know how good a test it was, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know regarding him being open to straight punches. I think his defense is quite good. I'm a bit old school. I like the guys with the high guard, PPV style. At least I don't like the guys that have the hands low, because one lapse in concentration, you can get hit clean. I like the old school, keep your hands up.
But I think it's more maybe he can be caught in an exchange, because he's a brilliant combination puncher, but elite, a real test, so that someone might be able to catch him, because he's throwing, fours and fives, isn't he?
Yeah, and we love it when guys throw combinations.
Good defensive guy could land on him, but we don't know.
That's fair. And like in the early part of the fight, when he was boxing him and moving him and just getting out of range after he lets his shots off, he wasn't really getting hit. It's when he started to stand there and engage, like you're saying, that's when he did get,
But it's another search and destroy guy, and it's all in the little weights. These search and destroy people. I mean, him and Chocolatito that we come to, they're not there to muck about, are they?
No, they want to get you out of there. They don't get paid for overtime.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know the little guys, and BJ Flores doesn't like them, but he's possibly one of the worst people ever, so it doesn't matter.
And he can't cut a ring off, so.
Yeah, he's a bum.
All right, that's about it, really. We'll probably talk a bit more about Inoue later.
If now to the round, he knows all the next moves, but from what he was saying, it looked like he'll be in good fights again soon, as long as that hand's okay.
Yeah, well, speak of the devil, he's just ringing me at the moment, so I'm just going to try and add him to the group. Because he's the beast when it comes to these smaller weights.
The devil.
Nicky.
The flyweight devil.
Yes.
Choose Connie, the flyweight devil.
Hey, that is.
We're just giving our 2 cents on the Inoue Cocky Gym fight. You want to give us your 2 cents?
Yeah, well, Inoue showed a lot of different levels in there. Showed the fact that he could box in mid-range, box on the inside, box on the outside. He kept changing it up to try and figure out what was going to work against Kokijim in terms of getting rid of him, in terms of being able to knock him out. And I think it's good experience for him because of the fact that, early in his career, he's been bombing a lot of these guys out of there, including, one of the top fighters, in or around the weight divisions in Narvaez, a guy that Donaire couldn't do that to him, and not even close. But he realizes now that he can't just brute force and just completely blaze through everybody in a couple of rounds. Managed to find out what worked, and what worked against against Kokijim was he managed to get up on his toes and catch him by surprise. You know, he was catching him with the change ups and the quick combos of the jab and the power shots off the jab, and then he finally finished him off in the 10th round, and he did a excellent job, I thought. You know, I do think that he does have some liabilities on the inside because he doesn't necessarily move his head or his torso enough. It's like he kind of relies on his ability to block the punches with his gloves, which can be a dangerous game, you know, as opposed to Gonzalez or Estrada, who both have their gloves high and they're moving their you know, their heads and their torsos and their shoulders and everything to block and deflect.
Good point.
But I do think that you know, he's kind of still learning on the job. Him and his promoter Hideki Yohashi, they said that they're going to be at the arena Saturday for Gonzalez Cuadras, so it'll be interesting to see if they decide to make that leap. But otherwise, it looks like Inoue is, unlike some fighters in this sport, is looking to unify immediately because they already brought up Marlon Topolez's name. Excuse me, not Marlon Topolez. Joe Nakas's name, who's the IBF champ, just dethroned Arroyo. They already brought up Luis Concepcion's name, who just dethroned Kono for the WBA, and then of course, you know, Cuadras and Gonzalez. They're already calling them out too. So, you know, putting it on the line. That's what it is.
And regarding his hand, same hand he's injured before, and do you know what the injury is?
Yeah, I haven't seen any reports as to him breaking it or anything. I think it was just like he it wound up looking swollen after the fact. You know, obviously there was that little cut there too. But they're saying that that he's going to be fighting again, most likely on December 30th. You know, for the New Year's cards that they always hold in Japan every year. They always, you know, stack those cards on December 30th and 31st. So, considering the fact that they're already talking about him coming right back, it would seem that there's no major injuries, just, you know, some residual swelling from him consistently kind of hurting it as opposed to breaking it, maybe like some sort of sprain or something.
Nice. And anything else you want to add with regarding any other fights, undercard or the Wednesday card before we move on, Naoto?
Well, I mean, just like I mentioned, you know, Concepcion took out Kono. That was a solid fight. Concepcion managed to get himself another title. He was a champion at flyweight before. Now he's one of the champs at super flyweight. Big puncher, fun to watch. And then the other one I was talking about on Cas, he's promoted by MP Promotions, Manny Pacquiao's company. Managed to upset the odds against Arroyo. So I'd be willing to bet that we'll see on Cas at some point in the near future against one of these guys as well. And then, I mean, otherwise, just I'm looking forward to this weekend's fights too, man. Especially, you know, the Casimiro-Edwards fight, but I'm sure he'll get to that. So. Yeah,
just quickly, do you think Manny will try and get his guy on a top rank show sometime soon or some shit? Get him some American exposure?
It would be nice. I mean, I'm not exactly sure because I'm not certain exactly how hands-on he is with it. But I mean, it would seem like it would only make sense for him to be able to try to do that. But I don't know, because the thing is, from what I know about his company, funny enough, is Samson Lukowitz was actually representing MP Promotions at the purse bid. That's how they won it. And Lukowitz is normally really tight with Heyman, so it's kind of funny that he seems to be working with both Heyman and Pacquiao at the same time. That guy's like a little bit of a specter, you know. He kind of maneuvers between. So who knows? Maybe that actually might help future negotiations between like a Pacquiao and in the PBC realm of things, you know, and possibly with Ancas too, because at least on PBC, you know, they've shown the ability and the willingness to show low weight fighters in the past, because they showed Major Arroyo versus Arthur Villanueva. They showed Warren and McDonald, McDonald and Kamedev, Warren and Payano, and so on and so forth. So.
Excellent, thank you, Naoto. Okay, I know Chu hates the smaller guy talk, so Chu, not much other boxing this week, so let's just preview next week. Biggest fight really is Golovkin Brook. I know Hamad is on the line, wants to discuss that too. So you, Chu, take it away. I know we were just talking off air that these Golovkin fanboys need a nickname, and I think you, again, pulled it out of the hat. Good boys?
That's been their name for a long time, so, you know, it's nothing original. I'm I'm a Golovkin fan. I think anytime Golovkin fights, of course you're going to get excited. It doesn't matter if it's Kell Brook. I think Kell Brook will actually do better than what a lot of people are suggesting. Well, he will still get knocked out in about the 6th round. What do you think, Cam?
Why do you think he will do better?
Hand speed, foot speed, just speed in general. I think
The drug
a lot of the
speed.
guys, drugs, of course.
Nah, he's clean, man. He's clean. He's been tested. I don't know, Chew. I think, like most
He's not lacing those brownies.
Nah.
Look, Chu just said getting knocked out in the 6th round was doing better. I mean, how low do we rate this? If getting out in the 6th round is doing better than we expect, that must mean this is a complete and utter mismatch.
Not necessarily. I mean, that's better than most of Golovkin's opponents.
Yeah, but that's not saying much.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not a very high bar has been set.
I would
Yeah,
rather he fought Kell Brook than a fucking average middleweight bum.
Yeah, but why?
Because Kell Brook's got the talent. He's got the talent. People have fought. They didn't have the size, but, you know.
You know what? I really disagree with you there. My bad. Go on, True. No. You finish your point, and then I'll go after.
I think you'll be big on the night. You'll be big on the night, like Kell Brook says on every interview that he's doing. Same way they heard in every interview that he's doing, he's drumming up that weight, or the weight is not going to be an issue. People are going to be surprised at how Kell Brook is come fight night. I just think that really the one thing everyone's saying about this fight is the size difference. I mean, they're just really propagandizing whatever that fucking verb is.
I don't think it is a word.
She just made it up.
I don't think there's a verb version of it.
I'm like the vocabulary Golovkin, you know. I've got such an inventive repertoire. Anyway, I think everyone's talking about the weight. Clearly, Kell Brook's big. I still think he gets knocked out. Not because of the physical nature of him, because I think on fight night there'll be a similar weight. It'll just be because he's not used to getting hit by bigger men.
Yeah.
And these guys that he's fighting.
Well, it's not even just bigger men. It's the fact that Golovkin hits beyond his weight, too. I mean, he hits basically like a cruiserweight.
Oh, you're right.
No, if I can go on, I just think there's so many things that I have an issue with this fight. Just harping on the weight, I don't think any kind of athlete, whether it's boxing, MMA, or whatever it is, I don't think any kind of athlete can put on 20 pounds of mass and naturally just get used to it and adjust to it properly within a 4-month time span. I just don't think it's possible. I mean, you can add on 15 to 20 pounds by taking a shitload of creatine, but it's not going to be a natural adjustment, in my opinion, to what is required in boxing, which is a lot of fluidity and a lot of skills. And I just don't think you can do that within this short of a time span. And again, like you mentioned, Naoya, he's not getting hit by, a top level 160 pounder who can punch his ass off. He's fighting a guy who's, I think, the pound for pound number one hardest hitting puncher in the game right now. So I don't care how much muscle you can tack on. That's not going to help with your punch resistance when you're fighting a guy of Triple G's caliber. And just one last thing. I think I would agree with you that I would prefer to watch this matchup between Kell Brook and Triple G compared to some of the other previous mismatches, but only for the spectacle, for all the fucking hoopla and all the promotional work that's going to be on display on Saturday night. But that's it. But in regards to whether he's going to do better because he's going to last 2 more rounds, I don't think that really matters. I don't think Kell's going to have any kind of success in that fight. That's not a direct result of Triple G just carrying his ass for however long it lasts.
Done.
So I just think this is a complete and utter fucking joke, man. But it's going to be fun to watch it because it's going to be a lot of entertainment to see if Kell Brook gets his head completely knocked off from his body. I mean, this could be a very, very ugly night. For the sport if things go incorrectly. Because I think if Triple G wanted to murder him, he probably could.
Here's our prediction. You're going to be shocked at how much Kell Brook hits him. I think everyone's going to be shocked at how many hands Kell lands on him. I don't think they'll hurt him. I don't think he'll hurt him at all, but I think he'll fuck up his face and then he'll step up. You'll be surprised. I think if Willie Monroe can hit him, Kell Brook's going to hit him.
Yeah, but Triple G was carrying Willie Monroe, and I think he's going to do that against Kell Brook as well. So all of those punches that you're talking about, I think Triple G is just going to let him do that to him because he knows that this is his first coming out party in the UK. I'm pretty sure him and KT want to establish some kind of base, some kind of crowd base, for that market for years to come. So I think he's just going to carry his ass.
Nah, but okay, the Willie Monroe he carried, but almost it didn't backfire.
He's carried a lot of people. He's carried everyone.
It did backfire because Willie Monroe fucking hit him. I mean,
he hit him or hurt him?
He had him out of there in the first round, and he took his foot off the pedal. He wanted to give the fans a wee bit of a show.
Yeah, but how did it hurt him?
The fight. He didn't hurt him. No, I'm saying he hit him.
No, I didn't mean literally hurt, but what kind of negative repercussions were there?
I mean, he showed he could be touched. He showed if.
Yeah, but you just said that he carried him. But if you carried him, that implies that you allow someone to do something to you intentionally.
If you carry someone, you don't want to get hit in the face. You don't even want to get hit in the face once.
Yeah, but that's kind of implied though in carrying someone.
Chew. Let's be honest. We saw the Lemieux fight. He got criticised for boxing, and he didn't let Lemieux touch him. If he didn't want Willie Monroe to touch him, Willie Monroe would not have touched him. I'm sorry, Willie Monroe was not on anywhere near the level. What happened is because Golovkin let it happen.
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying that if he does that against Kell Brook, that could be a problem. Just like it turned into a little bit of a problem, just a wee bit of a problem against Willie Monroe.
It really did turn into any kind of problem. Not at one point did anyone think there was a problem.
Yeah.
Honestly, true man.
Well, I'm not saying it as like something to report about. I'm just saying that Willie Monroe grew into the fight because he started to carry him. It's always a problem when you let someone hit you in the face.
Yeah, but in this situation, I think it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those cases where obviously if Brook suddenly hits him with something that makes him go whoa, it'll probably all he has to do literally is just start putting that jab on him. It's not like I highly doubt that Brook all of a sudden is gonna find some supernatural power in order to hurt this guy. It kind of reminds me of the thing I was just talking about with Inoue and Kokijim, where this guy Kokijim was able to hit Inoue, but Inoue wasn't like he wasn't bothered by it. Like he was looking at the punches like it wasn't shit. That's why he kept changing styles on him and finding eventually what worked. With Golovkin and Brook, if what he's doing at first doesn't work, Golovkin has multiple different styles that he could vary and throw in there. So he could just put a jab on him and then work behind that. And technically, all he really needs to do is do that. If he just wanted to throw power punches beyond that, but I've been willing to bet he's probably going to let Brook get on the inside, battle it out with him a little bit, soften him up, and then finally lower the boom on him.
But we're debating with Chew, who's picking Brook to get knocked out in 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to do better than you think. He's going to do better than you think, though, Leon.
Yeah. That's the funniest part about this fight, Leon, is that we're arguing about what is the most plausible kind of terrible end result for a fighter. Like if you ask anybody, who's a fan of Kell Brook, and you tell them, oh, the 6th round knockout is the best that he's going to do, are they going to be proud of that? For the guys who are coming to watch the fight on Saturday night, who I'm assuming most are casual fans, is that their expectations? Do they know anything about the background to this fight at all?
There's a lot of people out there who are picking him and on Twitter and stuff, picking Brook to win on points. But there's a lot of them, and that's fine. They can be Brook fans. I have no issue with that. I like Brook, and I think at 147 he was a problem for anyone. But the reasons that I thought he was a problem do not get carried up into the next 2 weights. Him being bigger, stronger, and probably slightly harder puncher than people at 147, those attributes do not move up 2 weight divisions with you.
And that's the thing that pisses me off the most about this fight, Leon, is that we were robbed of that.
Yeah, he's not a defensive puzzle, is he, Brook? He's not like,
not at all.
He's a guy. So that's not, and that's so all the things that I liked about him at 147 dissipate.
His best defensive tactic at 147 was what he displayed against Sean Porter, was his ability to overwhelm guys physically, which obviously he's not going to be able to do against Triple G, right? So if he's not able to do that, then what defensive tactic will he rely on? And again, just to go back to my original point regarding why I hate this fight so much, I don't blame Golovkin. The more that I think about this, the less I'm critical of Golovkin, unlike Canelo against Khan, because I don't think this is the end result that Triple G wanted in fighting at 160. But what I'm more pissed off about, I think, is Eddie Hearn and in his direction that he's taking Kell Brook on, and that
Exactly.
Kell Brook could have been the guy at 147, right? And we're robbed of that because not only do I think Kell Brook is not going to return back to 147 because I don't think his body will able to readjust to that weight class, but he's also at a point in his age right now where he should have been fighting the likes of Thurman Porter and Danny, these next 12 to 18 months. But instead, he's going to go in there against Triple G this Saturday night, and I think he's going to get seriously, seriously hurt. That's what I'm upset about.
Everyone is congratulating Eddie Hearn for getting Triple G over here, right? Oh, it's really exciting because we get to see him live, and I'm fine with that, and I'm happy. But if he can get Triple G, then surely he can get Furman or these other. Why is he leaving winnable fights and putting him in with a big name in a fight that really no one thinks he can win?
Yeah, why would Furman fight him?
But look, there's got to be a way of doing better by Kell Brook than putting him in with a monster puncher, 2 weight divisions above. And look, man, if he wins, he shocks the world. And, I think, it'll be a complete and utter meltdown. But I haven't had an argument from anyone really how he wins this fight. Like, if we're going to talk about the fight, how does he win this fight?
Leon.
Yep. What's up, Bamada?
All I want is someone to give me a decent argument, because
the answer to your question is this is going to be his last fight. That's why Brook's going to retire after this fight. He's gonna get hurt real bad. This is a cash out, man. Brook's retiring after this.
Maybe he could pull off like a Durrell versus Abraham, and Golovkin hit, who was it? I think it was Lemieux. While he was down, right?
Yeah.
So get Golovkin to hit you while you're down, and then just go into convulsions.
Yeah, but that's some WWE type of shit, though. Like that takes so much.
You can't plan that shit.
Yeah.
No, that's but that's what I'm saying. Though. It's like he'll be swinging at you, and then you just kind of like drop real quick, and then hopefully he hits you while you're down.
Yeah.
The only way Brook survives this is if he takes a dive.
Yeah.
Or if Khan runs out with a steel chair and hits Golovkin.
Hey, come on, guys. Let's stay on topic. Let's keep this serious, at least as much as we can, just because I think this is a big fight, right? From your guys' vantage point, this is a big fight, is it not?
Yeah, it's a huge fight.
Then, and that's what I'm more curious about. What are the odds for this fight? Do you guys know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Apparently, Brook is something about he's the best. How do I say it? Fucking
underdog.
No,
What, he's a live dog?
He's the closest odds. He has the closest odds.
Yeah, the closest odds ever are Golovkin opponent. If that ever makes sense.
What is that, like 12-1?
Why is that funny?
Now, I think he's only 4-1. I think.
Hey, Chew, come on. Hey, if you want to play this trolling game, you can play it, just because I do think there needs to be some balance on this show tonight. But I do want you to at least come clean afterwards and let the fans know that you were indeed trolling, because I don't want first-time listeners thinking that we actually think Kell Brook has a chance in this fight.
Well, let's be honest. There is no first-time listeners. It's been fucking steady. It's been steady. It's been steady.
Good point.
It's been steady the whole way, bro.
Hey, you never know, man. I gave my mom a link, so she might be the first-time listener for this week.
Oh, yes. The fucking digit up by one.
To be fair, I kind of understand what Drew's coming from. I can see Brook early on like beating Golovkin to the punch, but after about a round or two, I think Golovkin will get his timing down and zone in, and it'll be game over. I think Golovkin and this team after the weigh-in, they're gonna like the Champions League, they're gonna put 12 balls in like a bowl, and they're gonna pick one, and whatever round comes out, that's when they're gonna knock him out.
Paul Waffle's gonna have that winning ball. The slimy cunt.
But I honestly think, he can knock Kell Brook out in whatever round he wants to. whichever round he chooses. If it's 7, if it's 2, he can knock him out any single round.
Imagine he wins. Imagine he wins.
Now, it's impossible. There's no way Kell Brook's winning this fight.
Biggest shock ever in boxing. Bigger than
he can only win by disqualification. He can only win by disqualification or something like that. He cannot win legitimately.
Boys, if Brook wins, I have to leave the coalition. I'm sorry.
We're all going to say
I've said to Chemo, if Brook wins, I'm just going to say Golovkin was a bum. This fight was nothing. He beat a fucking no one. You all said his resume was shit. It's been proven. Yeah. Brook's still a bum.
If Brook wins, then Cam's soul will freaking fly into his eye, just like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
If Brook wins, then Tom Wofford's going to be with him every step of the way in the after fight, getting every urine test, getting every blood test. He'll be in the fucking cubicles with him, trying to get that test.
He'd be shaking it off.
I hope Kell is on the best steroids possible. I want him to be on that horse tranquilizer shit.
Like
I want
him to be thoroughbred.
Like, in between rounds, while Triple G is getting a sip of water, I want like 4 people just to be injecting steroids up Kell Brook's bumhole, because that's what I want to see. Because even with all that shit, this motherfucker is not winning this fight.
Give me that bottle. The winner mixed.
And just regarding back to, I know people bring up a lot about Kell Brook's weight, and they're saying how he's big and whatnot, and they point to the 30-day weigh-in, the 7-day weigh-in. I really do think Kell Brook is just playing mind games. I think when he weighed 176 on that 30-day limit, I think he probably just ate like 4 meals and just said, look, I want to weigh as much as possible. And I'm being serious. I really do think that's what he did, because he's not bigger than Golovkin.
He went down to Nando's and got the whole menu.
They admitted he's eating 8 meals a day. They said it themselves.
Yeah.
8 meals a day, man.
No wonder he's so happy. He's just stuffing his face every day.
Finger food, though.
Yeah, but I think this is a natural segue, Cam, for the behind the ropes, because in behind the ropes, like Leon just mentioned, I think Kell said, this is my 3rd meal of the day at 10 a.m. So he had 3 meals since he woke up, I'm assuming like from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So he's eating 8 pretty big meals a day. So obviously you're gonna gain a shitload of weight.
Yeah.
Maybe
if he's doing any of the same workouts that he was doing when he was making 147, obviously he's burning a shit ton of calories, because the motherfucker blows up to 190, and so by the time you're burning that many calories, if you get too light too early, which he probably was at some point in this camp, then that could be detrimental to you against the bigger guy. He's probably had to eat a lot in order to keep the mass on, so he doesn't peak too early.
He probably will gas out. With all the food that he's been eating, he's definitely going to gas out.
So he's going to go for it early, man. I'm telling you, he's going to absolutely go for it.
Hey, can I give my 2 cents?
Absolutely. Yeah. What's up, Joe Morgan?
Yes,
Joe. What's up, Daniel?
Not much, brother.
Good to be back, boys.
Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, man. I've been on my travels. Come back with a top knot. New outlook on life.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, man.
Like Keith Thurman, were you playing recorders out in the wilderness?
Yeah, I've been up.
Next out, Riverboat.
Boys, honestly, this entire build-up to this fight has just been like double face palm everything. It's literally been the most frustrating build-up I've ever witnessed. I cannot believe how anyone is giving Brook any sort of chance in any way. And the worst part about it is people are just trying to demean Golovkin, saying that without his punching power, he's just a plodder.
Spencer Theron's a moron.
Yeah, I know, but honestly, he influences so many people, and it's just horrific that people think that Golovkin isn't a highly skilled amateur boxer, that even without his punching power, if he punched like a feather, I'd still back him to beat Brook comprehensively, because I think his boxing skills are on a far superior level to Kell Brook's. Kell Brook is decent, he does the basics quite well, but I think the way that Golovkin controls distance and the way he cuts off a ring is just so on a completely different level to Brook that he could outbox him punching at 50% and he'd win the fight 12-0. Add to that, you're coming up against a guy who's flipping 13 pounds heavier than him, and Brook's just going to be putting on 13 pounds of added muscle. He's going to gas out even if the fight miraculously goes more than 6 rounds. And I saw videos of Brook sparring Liam Smith, And I bet you when it was going through Brook's mind when Liam Smith was touching it up, flipping out, this is pretty heavy. Now imagine that with an extra £6 and the most fearsome puncher that we've seen in the middleweight division for 20 years.
Joe, did he really get buzzed? Did they show him getting buzzed by Liam Smith in that documentary?
Well, he's getting touched up, and I get that sparring, you're going to get touched up a hell of a lot more than when you're fighting. But I bet you it was going through his head that, this is, I can feel the difference of £7 there. What's the next? And then another £6 on top of that, and an absolutely disgustingly massive punching middleweight. I just don't get how you can stand up to Golovkin for more than 3 rounds if Golovkin puts it on him. And the fact that, Chu, you were saying speed earlier, mate. I can't believe that, honestly. This guy, he's putting on so much more added weight, and he's not exactly got flashy hands anyway.
He does.
I just don't get how is he even going to hurt Golovkin. This is literally a joke of a fight. I'm far more pumped for flipping Prolin and Ares next week, which is actually what boxing is supposed to be about. Those sort of fights, not these joke fights. And
steroids and guts.
I'm not even probably going to watch it because it's that much of a piss take.
You have to watch it too.
I'm sad, but I thought going on your travels was meant to broaden your horizon.
I have, and I've seen the light. I've seen through the shit. I've seen through the sky hype, and I'm not interested in this.
Yeah, you literally saw through the shit, right, Joe?
Yeah, man. It's literally like, what? I just don't understand.
I just don't understand.
No, I just don't understand, boys.
Is that the first chapter of the Tibetan book of Living and Dying? Sky.
I think
Sky is shit.
I really do think that Triple G could win this fight if he had to employ the same shoulder roll that Andre Berto utilized against Robert Guerrero, and he could only throw 15 punches per round.
I'm worried for Brook, because I saw him the other day. He was getting an interview in his dressing gown. I'm a bit worried that this kid isn't going to come out of this fight with all his mental capacities intact, because you're going up against a guy so much bigger, and this whole Brook's bigger, Brook's going to come in bigger. Yeah, flipping, I'd come in bigger than GGG if I just had a big match for 3 weeks. It doesn't matter. The whole point is you stick to your fighting weight, and then you move up when your body outgrows the weight. You don't just jump up 13 pounds to fight an absolutely monstrous punch. You're going to get yourself hurt.
Yeah, you're not a sportsman.
It doesn't matter. You boil yourself down to fight at a weight where you're competitive. When you take that away, you have to rely on exceptional boxing skills or other exceptional physical abilities. And I don't think Brook has that. And when you put on 30 pounds of added weight and you're going up against, even if, mate, I'd pick flipping Gabe Rosado to beat Brook at middleweight.
No, stop
Incorrect.
it. No, I would. You're going too far now.
No, I would.
Dunk him.
There's a flag on the play.
Pretty boy, gang.
Pick about 30 middleweights to beat Brook at middleweight.
Oh, I don't. I think I think we're going a bit too far.
No, I mean that's plausible, right? I mean, why not?
Dalston.
It's one of those things where it's a wild card. We really don't know. We don't know, because of the fact that Kell Brook has never fought there before. He's never even fought like a middling contender. And the best guy that he's ever fought was Sean Porter, who, I guess he was, formerly a middleweight a long time ago. But
his frame suggests that he doesn't belong anywhere near middleweight. He's quite a small, a bit stocky guy. Someone like Paul Williams, who was like quite a massive 147 pounder, he could fill out to middleweight in a half decent fashion. Brook is just going to pile on loads of fatty weight. So when he goes on the scales, all the casuals think, oh, he looks absolutely massive. He looks like an absolute gym rat. He's going to do Golovkin. But that's just fake muscle and fake weight that you don't even need. Honestly, I think guys like John Ryder, Gabe Rosado.
John Ryder!
Stop it now.
Hey,
I'd probably pick going too far now, man.
Yo, why you hating on the gains, bro?
Yo, are we forgetting about the chocolate brownie?
The brownie.
Yeah, what about the brownie?
Chocolate brownie. I'm going to give it to Golovkin.
Could be a factor.
Never forget.
Man, I think Naota, you might have the worst Kell Brook impersonation in history, man. That shit is worse than if my
listening
mom.
to some more? That is quite bad, actually.
No, but yeah, just going back to Kell Brook and the whole size thing, Joe, that you mentioned is, I don't even think if he fought at 154, he'd be that big of a 154 pounder. And just look at the top 5 guys at 154 and look at how big they are. The Charlo twins, Andrade, Canelo. I mean, you think Kell Brook?
Ian Smith would be a very competitive 50-50 fight. How would you expect Kell Brook to come up against when he faces Golovkin? It's just
Golovkin.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Good. Let's just talk about Golovkin for a little bit, and
why not?
What this for his career? Can I ask you guys? Do you know if this is K2 trying to establish some kind of base in the UK? I've heard some rumblings about K2 and Loeffler trying to set up a working relationship with Eddie Hearn moving forward. I mean, do you guys know if Matchroom has enough fighters to sustain that level of activity, and B, whether this is kind of a feeling out process for the two to try to make Golovkin a staple in the UK, because I'm sure you guys are aware, New York is pretty much off limits now for boxing because they mandate $1 million in insurance for every single fighter that's on a specific card. So it looks like New York is out for Triple G, which was a place that obviously he fought many times previously, and was where he honestly started his ascendance in terms of his ranking, in terms of just popularity and drawing power at that. So I'm just curious as to see if this is kind of an alternative approach.
Are you saying to keep Golovkin busy, or just a relationship between K2 and Matchroom? Because he doesn't have enough fighters to keep Golovkin busy.
What I'd imagine is the logical step. Commercially, by the way, I think this is quite a good move from K2 because it's a low-risk fight for extremely high reward in terms of the commercial success that it'll broaden Golovkin's, however many people buy the pay-per-view and all the people in the arena. Because surprisingly, Golovkin, for a boxer from Kazakhstan, is actually very well known amongst casuals, probably due to the promotion of this fight and imagine afterwards. But I'd imagine what they will do next is probably try and make the Eubank Jr. fight. Because Eubank Jr. at the moment is probably a top 10 sort of name in the UK in terms of like commercial awareness, and if they make that fight, that'll sell out very easily. 20k in the O2, that'll be another big payday for Golovkin. Obviously more risk than Brook. Because I think someone said to me the other day that if Brook and Eubank Jr. fought, they'd pick Brook, but that's pretty ridiculous as well. But do you know what I mean? I just think the Eubank Jr. fight in the UK is probably the next logical step for Golovkin.
I guess I'm also curious because I've always thought that the UK, I think you guys are carrying boxing right now, just in terms of keeping it popular and just keeping it always in the mainstream. So that doesn't surprise me one bit, but I don't know, man. If I'm K2, I just think the logical step is to just move operations in Europe. I mean, obviously Europe is a lot closer to Kazakhstan than, well, not closer necessarily, but it seems like it's a more natural progression for people within Kazakhstan to, fly over to whatever parts of Europe you want to have a certain fight at. And like you mentioned, Joe, I just think there's so many low-risk options for Triple G in fighting in the UK with extremely high reward. You don't have to deal with all the fucking bullshit of trying to get guys in the ring against you who are going to generate much less paydays. And honestly, it's probably a little bit higher of a risk. So I don't know, man. I just feel like that's a logical option.
Yeah, I think boxing, I don't think people understand, like, hardcores like to hate quite a lot, but I don't think a lot of people grasp just how wide boxing has actually reached in terms of the British sporting public. Like, there was talk of Joshua going on to fight in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff against, I don't know, someone like Pulev. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if that had done about 50,000 tickets, just that on its own. And the Golovkin Brook sold out in whatever, like a minute and a half. Obviously, half of those go on StubHub. But, they can put out 20,000 arenas and sell them out extremely quickly for decent fights. And if you look at the States, I mean, even the Santa Cruz Frampton, I mean, if that was in Belfast or Dublin or even in London, that would have sold out instantly. But it didn't even sell out at the Barclays. And that's in quite a high Irish sort of density population in Brooklyn and obviously in the East Coast there, I guess. So it just shows you that the UK have actually taken to the actual attendance of boxing a hell of a lot better than the Americans at the moment.
Yeah, this needs to be, we need to for some fights, for some fighters, you know.
Yeah, it has to be the right fight.
We have to get this into perspective.
Yeah. You can't just put boxing fans. Yeah.
There's boxing fans and there's matchroom fans, and they're two separate things. Because look at Warren fights, look at all the other cards around the country. These people don't have the platform, and they don't have the fans going to their fights. Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders, how many people were there, Cam? Like 4,000 or something? It's doing well if you're on the Sky side, and if you're willing to be with Eddie Hearn, you'll be all right. But he is a one-man machine in this country. So boxing in general may not be flourishing, but matchroom certainly is.
Can I just make a point about Kell Brook? And
is it serious?
To follow up on what Leon just said about matchrooms thriving, you know, in any other sport, if someone from 2 divisions down below, say a fucking League One football team played a Premiership team in the FA Cup or something, you wouldn't go, oh, fuck this, man, this is going to be uncompetitive, I'm not going to watch this shit. You get involved in the romance of it. The fucking romance, the massive underdog, you could win. You know, Sky Sports aren't stupid. Every time you see a Kell Brook segment on a Sky Sports news show, you know, they're playing the Rocky IV music. They're building up the fact that he's a massive underdog. You know, why don't we just suspend our disbelief like you would do when you're watching a film? Just suspend your disbelief. Just give fucking Kell Brook a wee chance. All right, he's probably not going to win. He's probably going to get knocked out. But I'm going to watch. I'm going to pay. I didn't usually pay. I'm going to pay. Why not? Why not? Because I'm going to get involved in it. It's a fucking event. Golovkin's fighting. All right, he could be fighting a better name, a bigger name. We'd all love to see that. But you know, he's fighting who he's fighting because others are ducking him. So I'm going to get involved in that. I'm going to enjoy it. And fair play to Kell Brook. He's got balls. I think we're too negative on the show sometimes.
Yeah, if you were applying that little spiel to Eubank Jr., I could get on board with it because I would give him that little fighting chance that I'd give an underdog in the FA Cup. But Brook is too much to ask, mate. Honestly, you're going too far into the realms of complete impossibility.
This is Barcelona versus Sunday League team.
Yeah, honestly, it is that bad.
Please. If he wins, we're fucked.
Yeah, I know. If he wins, I probably won't ever watch.
Especially you've gone too far. You've thrown yourself under the bus already, mate. But look, I'm not.
But wait a minute, you guys are contradicting yourself. Sorry, Leon, you guys are contradicting yourself. You're saying Rosado couldn't beat Kell Brook. But are you honestly trying to say Rosado and Golovkin is Barcelona and fucking a Sunday League team?
Rosado would beat Kell Brook.
Would they?
We're not having this discussion, man. This doesn't mean anything. I'm not Look, Kell's taking the fight, and fair play to him, and many boxers have done that. And you got to give him some credit for taking the fight. I just don't think it's a fight he can win. But it doesn't diminish the fact that he's willing to take it. I don't think we've been that negative. We're just saying, we believe there's a disparity there. That's all.
That's nice. Well,
totally agree.
That's nice. I just think, on general, if you listen to the first 40 minutes of that show, it would come across as quite negative, you know. So I'm excited.
Negative to his chances. Semantics, sorry.
Yeah, because people have probably just come out of the Sky hype train of them thinking that Brook's the bigger man and he's in with a shout and GGG is slowing down. Yeah, then it probably does seem negative when compared to that. But when you compare it to reality, then it's extremely realistic.
You know what's crazy that I find bizarre is these casuals trying to break down how Golovkin is this plodder, he's only a puncher. They make it seem like he's Mayorga, but he's actually top 3 most talented in the whole of boxing right now. And it's just ridiculous. And they try to break it down. They say things like Kell Brook will be like his speed and boxing, and Kell Brook ain't displayed nothing. Like in his Porter fight, all he did was clinch, and like let's be real, like he won't be able to clinch Golovkin. No way. Like Golovkin will slip out of them clinches. He'll push him back. It's just ridiculous, man. I mean, it's just brainwashing it. Like they've just been brainwashed by the establishment.
They never mentioned that Golovkin's had reportedly 350 amateur fights and only lost 5 of them. Brook had about 30 amateur fights. And for certain,
you know what I saw the other day? I saw Martin Murray like breaking down the fight and talking about how what it was like to fight Golovkin himself, and like that seemed very frightening. Like the way he was talking, like, and he even said like Brook doesn't go 6 rounds with him. Like that's a guy that's been in the ring with him, and these casual fans who know fuck all, who don't know shit, are trying to tell people and write all over Twitter that he's a plodder and he's splat-footed, and it's just ridiculous, man.
Murray is a really, really durable 160-pounder, and he's even shown that he's actually half decent at 168 pounds. You know, he is in the middleweight division. He's probably the toughest guy in there. And you're taking a guy 2 weight divisions below that we don't even know if he's that tough. He could just fold as soon as pressure was put on him by a 147-pounder, let alone Gennady Golovkin. And all of a sudden he's going to grit out a 12-round decision.
No, I don't think we're saying that. I think Brook's better than that. Brook's one of the best at 147. I think we've always said that on this show.
That's fair enough.
I think we're diminishing him too much now. Like, we can't just eliminate him and say he's an undefeated fighter. I mean, whatever we say.
We don't even know if he was one of the best 147-pounders. We thought he was one of the best. We didn't know it.
Oh, right, okay, whatever, yeah. Okay.
Like, he could have been. He could have fought Bradley and got beaten 12-zip. I probably wouldn't have been that surprised with it.
All right,
it's just that Triple G is just that good. It's not even about it's not even about him. It's about Golovkin. Golovkin is that good. So whatever weight he puts on, whatever size or punching or speed, it will be null and void because Golovkin is that good, and he will take away whatever Brook has and adjust to whatever Brooks throws at him early, and it'll be over, man. It's just a mismatch of the highest order, and it's a shame because I'm actually going to this fight, and the main reason I'm going is because it's not an everyday opportunity to get to see Golovkin fight over here. It'll be good to see what he looks good on TV. It would be good to see him fight live. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yep. All right, let me get a Canadian's opinion on this.
Jose is all about the sexy name.
I'm bringing sexy back.
Boys, how you guys all doing?
Good, thank you, Jose. How are you?
Good, man, good. No, you know what? I have to agree with Chu on this, man. I think it's, there's a lot to be negative about, but I mean, let's see what happens. Obviously, Brook doesn't bring in the pedigree of a Sugar Ray Leonard, it would have been amazing if we would have seen Floyd Mayweather, for instance, take on Triple G, because then it would have been truly like a set of skill and something proven versus, the beast, like a true David versus Goliath. But I mean, having said that, this is still better, in my opinion, than Triple G fighting Willie Monroe Jr. and all these other bums at 160. So I mean, there is an element of the unknown, and that makes it interesting. I think that definitely makes it appealing. So, I mean, we're all expecting to see Triple G demolish the guy, but I think because it's an unknown, I think it makes it a little bit interesting.
How do you see it playing out, Jose?
Sorry?
How do you see the fight playing out?
I mean, that's the whole point. Like that's what I like about matchups like this. I have no clue what can happen. Like the most predictable outcome is that Triple G is gonna flatten him like Canelo did to Khan. That's probably what's gonna happen. But I don't know much about Brook. I don't know how durable he is. I don't know how well tested is or how strong his chin is. Right? I don't know what kind of heart he has because he's been seen, at least to the North American public, like it's very limited the exposure we've had to him. Right? So all we know is that the Brits have pumped him up and said he's the best 147. So if he's truly the best 147 and head and shoulders everybody else, then it should make the fight somewhat interesting. right? So, I mean, there's a lot of good talent at 147. There's a lot of depth, and if he's truly better than everybody there, he should
I would
at
rather
least
have seen him.
you know.
I'd much prefer to have seen Brook fight Spence, personally. I'd much because it's a better
true.
fight. The better
But
fight.
the politics of the game, man. When will that fight ever happen? Like Spence
it would have been next.
Not take that. Yeah, perhaps that's what Spence says. But Canelo said he was going to also fight Triple G next, right?
No, but he's done work. They've worked together, Matchroom and PBC. It's not a complete implausibility,
Yeah, but so was Golden Boy and whatever Triple G's promoters are.
KT.
There has been work done, but I mean, what I'm saying is Brooks saw the opportunity and he took it. If anything else, the guy has balls, and I mean, either way, it's going to favor his career. At least he's going to be on the highest of platforms, right? People are going to be able to see him, and I mean, there's no honor in losing. And I know that's not really a consolation for us, the fans, but I mean, what if? I know I said the same thing about Khan, so it kind of diminishes my point. But what if, right? That's what makes it fun, right?
Why not?
That's exactly, Jose. Do you think this is Golovkin's toughest fight?
I would have to say yes, man. Like, I mean, just because, again, I don't know Brook, right? And this is the thing. If we would have had, Brook fighting Thurman, let's just say, or Brook fighting any other 147, I'm sure everybody, your side of the of the planet would have voted on Brook to beat Thurman, right? So if it would have been Thurman versus Triple G, I would give Thurman a fighting chance because, I like Thurman.
No way. Come on, man.
Well, maybe not to beat him, but at least it would be interesting. I'd love to see that, right? So if I'd love to see Thurman fight Triple G, even if he was going to get whooped, I'd still like to see Brook fight then, right? I think it's a little bit different than Khan versus Canelo because as much as I love Khan, and I even wanted Khan to win, Khan did have a shaky chin, right? And he had been beaten before, and he wasn't necessarily challenging when he was at the prime and at the highest level of his division or his career, right? So, I mean, Brook is. Right now, Brook's at his absolute highest peak. This is where the Brook train is at its highest. So it's not like he's going in after a loss or after a KO or anything else. He's going in truly at his best. So if he's at his best, let's see it, right?
Jose, you say, yeah.
Know that he's fought rubbish. He's fought rubbish in his last 3 fights. We don't know how good he is since that Porter fight.
Wait. Jose, you say, yeah, that Khan had a shaky chin, and that's why everyone knew that Canelo would knock him out. But Golovkin has unlimited power. So what's Kell Brook going to do? He's going to get knocked out himself as well.
No, I hear what you're saying, right? I don't disagree with that, but all I'm saying is they're just coming in at different positions. They're coming in at different spots in their career, right? Khan, I love Khan, and I wanted him to win, but Khan had been exposed before. Brook hasn't. So maybe Triple G's the guy that's going to expose him. And then at that point, we got to wonder as fans, is was Brook that good? Like, you guys still there?
Jose, yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be saying this about Brook if we didn't know. We know what Brook's about. We've seen him fight numerous times. You said he's never been exposed. I've seen him be exposed against a guy that trains in Golovkin's gym called Carson Jones. And that alarm bells are ringing because Golovkin is probably 1,000 times the fighter Carson Jones will ever be or ever was.
That was a while back, It's the same thing when people say, "Oh, Fury got knocked down by Steve Cunningham." It's
different. No, that's completely different because he nearly lost that fight. Like that was a close fight. Like people forget.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you give Floyd Mayweather a fighting chance against Triple G or not at all?
Me personally, no, I wouldn't.
No, nobody would on the panel.
I'll give him a shot.
No.
There you go. If you give Floyd a shot, then I mean, I know it's semantics and you it's triangle theories, but I mean, Floyd Brook, could it not happen? Could Brook not beat Floyd?
No.
So, I mean, so what you're saying in Mayweather in Brook's scenario, fighting Golovkin 160 pounds, you'd give Mayweather a chance.
I mean, I would love to see
the only way I'd give Mayweather a chance is if he drags him down to like 52 or 53 or something like that. That's the only way I'd give him a chance. He can't beat Golovkin at full 160. Not for me.
I mean, and
Floyd's too small. Floyd's a 140. Floyd can make 140 if he wants. Freud is small, man. When he's fighting all these guys, they're way bigger than him. And Freud won't have nothing to keep Golovkin off.
Where we go?
I like Freud. I know this is going down a wrong road, but no, sorry, man. I just disagree with you, Joe.
I hear you guys. All I'm saying is this: at the end of the day, it's an interesting matchup. It's unique. It's what makes boxing fun, at least to watch. And even if Triple G goes in and dismantles him, then it's entertaining too. But I'd rather see him beat up a name, as even if the name is smaller. The name is still big, but the opponent's smaller than him fighting a Willie Monroe or somebody that brings no consequence to it at all. What if Willie Monroe would have beat Triple G? Who cares? Do you know what I mean or not? Do you agree with that? If Triple G would have lost to one of those bums, it wouldn't have made any difference at all. That guy wouldn't have been propelled on the stage and been the greatest ever. He just would have been whatever. Some fluke. He beat Triple G, and whatever. It would be just like a Rasim, what's it called? Like a Rahman or whatever, right? He had his one moment and that was it.
It would have been a big upset and everything, but the whole thing is with each successive win where Golovkin looks absolutely dominant and destroys a guy, it looks more and more unlikely every time out. With Brook, we have a little bit of a different situation because we have yet to really see a ceiling with Brook. With a lot of those other guys, we already saw where their ceiling was.
And that's my point. That's what my point is. That's exactly that. We don't know his ceiling. And can he break through the glass, or is he going to get just shattered? I don't know. Right?
You know what I don't understand? People are doubting Golovkin. That's what it seems like. People are doubting him over things we've never seen. We've never seen Golovkin be remotely exposed. We've never seen him be vulnerable in a fight. We've never seen anything like this. So how can people be doubting him?
See, I don't think anybody's doubting. I just think just because people are intrigued, myself, we're intrigued by a matchup, it doesn't mean we doubt Triple G by any means. It doesn't mean that we don't think he's legitimately one of the best fighters on the planet. It's just the matchup itself is interesting. It's exciting. It's different, and that's all I'm saying.
A matchup for me, I'll tell you, for me, I think a matchup is intriguing when both guys could win the fight. And I don't think both guys can win this fight. I don't think they can both win this fight. For me, there's only one winner in this fight. Tell me what you think, what makes this fight intriguing, from Brook's part. What makes you think what anything Brook can do would make him victorious in this fight?
That lateral punch.
I'd have to open it up to you guys because you guys all know Brook. You guys, it's just 3 months ago, before this fight was ever announced, you guys, not you guys perhaps, but a majority of British boxing fans said how Brook was the greatest fighter at 147 and he was this and he was that. So now it seems like, he's got this challenge and people are saying, oh, it's too much, right? So,
You know why, Jose? Because Brook is physically bigger than all these other welterweights. That's one of the reasons why. And he's fighting Golovkin now and giving up all his physical advantages.
Yeah, perhaps, but
he had an advantage over
these
welterweights, which he won't have against Golovkin. Sorry?
Gaza?
I think boxing fans are too extremist, the boxing hardcore fans, they're all over Twitter. They're making GIFs and Photoshop saying Kell Brook going in a coffin, gonna get fucking assassinated. pink coffin, fighting.
You're right. Go ahead,
Brook.
The fucking hardcores are like hipsters. They're in on the big secret that Golovkin's gonna knock Kell Brook out. Oh, the casuals don't know. The casuals are betting money on Brook, but really it's the answer is always in the middle between the casual and the hardcore. Fucking the hardcores saying that fucking Golovkin's gonna knock him out with the first punch. That's not gonna happen. I guarantee
I'll play devil's advocate to Jose real quick. We haven't seen Brook ceiling yet, and as opposed to what Hamada said, Golovkin did show some flaws, especially on the inside against Kasimuma, and that was a while ago. but I saw a lot of that same stuff against William Monroe. If Brook could somehow find a way to fight on the inside, which I know isn't necessarily,
he doesn't have an inside
Zero
game.
inside game. Zero.
Punches.
None.
How did he beat Porter then? How did he beat Porter?
By clinching him when Porter came on the
inside.
inside.
That's an inside
hit
game.
him. Well, that's the thing, though. He hit him and he held him. He held
that's
him.
inside.
Has somebody really clinched Golovkin like that yet? Has somebody hit him and then just grabbed him?
Yeah.
And who?
Martin Murray was trying to clinch him, and he was slipping out them clinches.
Get
like
punched in the face.
Yeah. One
telling
thing
you,
you guys
can't
fail to
clinch
realize,
Golovkin.
I think, is everyone speaks about Triple G. In this case, like he's some giant of a. If it would have been like Vladimir Klitschko against Kell Brook, I'd say, yeah, there's no fucking way. The guy 50 pounds more than him. He's 4 feet taller than him.
I've watched that.
Like these are still guys that are the same fucking size. They're both guys that are like 5'10", 5'11". You know, maybe one guy's a little stronger, but it's not like he's gonna be able to like hold him down with his pinky, guys. Like I think we're overhyping Golovkin's overall
Exactly.
power a little bit too, right?
Fucking Kell Brook Andrad's a bigger mismatch.
Hey, can I jump in for a second?
With your background.
I just want to ask. Yeah, my apologies, Leon. This question is directed towards you, Leon. How haven't you killed yourself yet?
I don't know.
With all the bullshit that Jose is spewing, but anyways, I gotta go. But yeah, just keep on the dialogue. And Leon, I know I almost caused you to kill yourself early this morning, but I thought Jose would definitely be the final straw.
I've got anger issues, Dan.
No. I still love you, man. But carry on. My bad for the background noise.
Later, Dan.
Jose, we need to wrap it up. Have you got anything else regarding this fight or anything else you want to talk about?
All right. No, that's it, man. I just wanna say I'm on Chu's side, man. And it's better to hope for something good than to be sure of something bad, you know?
Hope.
That's it, boys. I'll keep listening. Peace.
Players.
Peace, Jose. Thank you. Jose. Anyone else got anything regarding Golovkin Brook, or should we move on from this black hole?
Yeah, quickly. Who knows the undercard?
Undercard is horrible.
Horrible.
Disgusting. I think Haskins versus Hall rematch is like the co-headliner. Actually,
I'm really interested to see Casimiro versus Edwards, though.
Yeah,
I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
I swear, Nelson, you said something about he can't make the weight or something about.
No, well,
he never was fake or something.
I think it was. I mean, according to the IBF, he made 112, but there was literally no record from any of the reporters that were there in China when he fought. I'm not wrong that either of them ever weighed in again. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not weighed 117 in that fight, and Casimiro weighed 113. So going up against Edwards, even though he probably should knock Edwards out, who's pretty much a ranked novice in the pros. He's only 8-0. This is his 9th fucking fight. Against one of the biggest punchers at the weight class. If he doesn't make the weight, for one thing, he'll lose the title on the scales, and he may go in their weight drain. So Edwards may actually be able to pick up a belt in his 9th fight just based off of that.
That's my conspiracy theory into why this fight's happening. Because, like you said something about the weight last time, and I thought to myself, why would they sling this guy in with a guy who just knocked out Amnat? Like, it don't make no sense. Like, that's what I was thinking. So there must be a reason. They must know something that we don't. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And I'd be willing to bet that has a lot to do with it. Just that he won't be able to make the weight. Because, I mean, like, if you even watch that fight with him and Amnat, that said, the rematch, he was losing every round until he landed that shot. So it's not like he went in there, he schooled Amnat and then knocked him out. It's not like Amnat was kind of beating him again the same way he did the first time, with fouls and outboxing him combined. And then he just landed a monster left hook as Amnat tried to clinch him.
True, but Edwards is not really. I don't think anyone has really got the style of Amnat who fucking clinches you and fucking hugs you and throws you about. So I think Edwards.
Yeah, of course. No, that's true. That's true. But I mean, Casimiro's been defeated before by even smaller guys though too. It doesn't necessarily take a guy that's as good as Amnat necessarily to beat him. I mean, he lost years back to a couple different guys. Once by stoppage, was kind of a bad stoppage, and the other time, but he got outboxed by Ramon Garcia, who was a pretty good titleist a few years back. But I mean, it's just one of those where I think there's things might be conspiring against Casimiro in this fight. Just, the weight. He's not a small guy. Making 112 again is going to be difficult for him in the first place, and he's really heavily relying on his power. He's not necessarily like the most skilled technician. He's a guy that really does rely on his power to kind of bail him out of a bad thing.
We have no idea if Edwards has a chin. None at all. He's fought no one. So I mean, he might land one punch and just completely destroy it.
I've never actually seen Edwards. I've never seen him fight.
Well, you know what? I think in a way, this fight is almost like what Jose is hoping Golovkin versus Brook will be. It's basically a guy that's a big puncher versus an unknown quantity.
Yeah,
it could be possible Edwards might be like some sort of boxing virtuoso who puts on a masterclass, or he might go in there and get shelled in one.
Anyone else got any thoughts with Edwards versus Casimiro?
Not really.
Anyone want to say anything about Haskins Hall?
Just hope he loses.
I just think it's just I mean, have you seen the standard of some of those opposition on that undercard? It's absolutely horrendous, man. He is burying bad news, isn't he?
Yeah, when they start adding like Galahad to the card in the 8th round and Gavin McDonald against the 18-year-old Nicaraguan who's got 6-2, it's like, why are you adding these guys? I don't know, man. It's just his undercards these days are just getting worse and worse.
I mean, that's close to being child abuse, isn't it? That kid's only just been 18 for like about 3 months. I mean, it's outrageous, man. It's disgusting.
I guarantee you as well, Gavin McDonald don't knock him out.
No. But, I mean, yeah, it's just...
He won't knock him out.
Because of Golovkin, which he does, he got Golovkin over here, which has pleased a lot of people. But it is, if you break that card down, I mean, that is a shambles of an undercard.
Yeah, nah, it's trash. I'm very gonna go there like 9:30 just for the co-main and the main event. I'm not going there any earlier. No chance.
Casual.
Nah, man, fuck that shit. I don't want to see Paul Smith and Callum Smith and all these guys in showcase fights. Fuck that shit.
You don't want to see Martin Joshua Ward versus Andy Townsend?
I don't even know who they are.
The only Andy Townsend you know is the former football player, isn't it, Amanda?
Yeah, the commentator. The ITV commentator.
Who is Conor Benn going to be allowed to bully?
Oh, it's Conor Benn on there?
Yeah, you don't want to see Conor Benn against 2-10 guy from Croatia.
The best part of probably seeing Conor Benn fight is him kissing dad after.
I don't know, that's the worst part for me, but anything else?
I'm joking.
Anything else regarding undercard? Anyone want to mention anything?
Paul Smith versus the ever dangerous TBA.
The real gun kid just needs to go, to be honest.
Yo, no, before, wait, sorry, like, I have to bring that, like, what is Paul Smith playing at?
God knows.
Like, is he just gonna fight these bums until one day he gets gifted a title shot?
Probably.
That's what it looks like he's doing. Like, he doesn't want to fight anyone remotely that would be competitive with him.
Unless they've got a belt.
Yeah, basically, yeah, unless it's a world title shot.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of...
He's a leech. He's a leech.
And then
That's disgusting, man.
And then when he gets the world title shot, he'll just miss weight.
When Paul Smith fights, I get goosebumps, because Real Gone Kid by Dylan Miche is a great song.
He nearly lost his last fight that wasn't on TV. We didn't. No one really saw it. Just on Twitter. He nearly lost it.
Really?
Yeah. People were saying it was a draw or he lost it against an absolute. Who was he fighting? Let's go back.
Area level.
You know what's actually crazy as well? I actually had him beating Abraham fight. I had him winning the first fight against Abraham.
I did as well, you know.
I actually did, and I don't even like Paul Smith, and I actually had him winning.
Same.
To be honest.
I picked him before as well, so maybe I was a bit biased. But anyone else got anything regarding this undercard? Like the Haskins Hall fight, it's not a bad fight overall. It's happened before, and I don't know how.
You kind of know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I like Hall, but I don't know how he keeps getting like these title shots, man. He just always gets IBF title shots, like his uncle's part of the IBF or something.
Because he's probably easy to do business with, isn't he?
Just take
I'll take that money.
Take
I'll take
shit
that,
money
yeah.
and just fucking.
Well, that combined with the fact that with the IBF, because they enforce the mandatories, if you kind of get in good with them and you keep fighting their eliminators, they'll reward you, unlike the other sanctioning bodies.
Good point.
They actually have to, because they have to.
Sorry, I think Stuart Hall's the worst world champion I've ever seen. Him and Charles Martin. Charles Martin, sorry. Charles Martin has to be the worst.
No, Stuart Hall would beat Charles Martin.
I actually think Stuart Hall's probably the worst. Like, Charles Martin didn't win a world title, man. Like, he hit the jackpot. He won the lottery. But Stuart Hall's probably the worst world champion to actually win a world title. You know what I'm trying to say?
Why are you hating on my boy Stewie, man? That's a bit harsh.
He's got a great story.
That was a good fight, though. That fight to win the belt.
Not a bad fight.
That was a good fight.
When he beat Malingo, that was a good scrap.
Yeah, that Malingo fight was a good fight, man.
He showed heart in that fight. His eye was gone.
Oh, Mother, you're so negative tonight. The fucking chat room's gone mental. So negative.
One person's gone mental.
Stuart Hall's a great wee fighter. He's alright. Why does every world champion need to be fucking Sugar Ray Leonard? I mean, just let them.
You don't have to be.
I don't think Stuart Hall's that bad. I mean, I'd put Gavin Reese way above Stuart Hall in terms of like bad champions.
No, Gavin Reese is a good fighter.
He's done to hurt you. Yeah. Little Gav.
The thing about Hall is he's an exciting fight, and he does throw a lot of shots. He just hasn't got the snap. So it's just like it's two guys just clubbing away each other and like nothing's happening. Just like Soto Carras versus Kamagai. It's just like you're waiting for one guy to get dropped, but neither have enough punch power.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least with Soto Carras and Kamagai, you know that they normally have the power to hurt other guys, just that they have ridiculous chins. I think with Haskins and Hall, it's more the case of it's almost like the stereotypical, like what people think that the smaller weight classes fighting is all about. Like, oh, these guys are throwing thousands of punches and now they're hurting each other because they don't have power. That's pretty much the case with both of them. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Carras has got a chin.
Yeah.
So he said, nah.
Yes.
He's been knocked out bare times.
He's been knocked out a couple times. I mean, he took a hell of a lot of shots from Keith Thurman before he finally folded.
Gabe Rosado knocked him out. Do you remember?
That was a
knocked out by Gabe Rosado. Then sorry, man.
Well, I mean, you can get caught. You can get caught early, which he pretty much was against Gabe Rosado if you watch the fight.
But he is tough. He is durable. He is durable, but I don't know.
That was more of an anomaly than a signal of who he was as a fighter.
Yeah, Miorga got knocked out a bunch of times, but he had a great chin as well.
No, but he was getting knocked out by body shots.
Yeah, he got knocked out to the chin a few times as well. Oscar
mostly later on, but yeah, De La Hoya too. But
all right, let's move on. I think we've killed this pay-per-view card to death. I'm not buying it, man. Fuck that shit. Even though I want to see Kell Brook starched out on the canvas in HD, I'll probably just probably stream it and then watch in HD afterwards. But let's go to Friday to talk about rematch between Jacobs and Mora. The first fight, I watched it again today because there was only 2 rounds. Really exciting two rounds though. How do you see the rematch playing out, Chu?
Same as the first one. Jacobs knockout. I just think the physical advantages. Jacobs is a very big middleweight, very big power. Mora, alright, he knocked him down in the first fight, but when has Mora ever kind of finished a fight? When has he ever knocked guys down? I mean, I just think if it goes to a firefight, Jacobs has got all the answers and Mora's got a bag of tricks, which he's kind of like an old magician at this point. He's like a shot Paul Daniels. He's just he's a snake charmer, but fucking the snake's not getting charmed; they're just biting them. They're actually just chowing the magician's arm off at this point. And he's old. I don't know how old Mora is, but there's a lot of guys like he's got one of these cult followings. Another guy with a cult following. His fans will say he can beat anyone. Like I'd love to see Mora GGG and all that kind of shit. No, man, you don't want to see that fight. Don't want to see this fight.
Yeah,
I'll give Mora the rematch because of the controversial circumstances of the first fight. But do I think he wins? No, I don't. And
I think Jacobs should knock him out within 4. I think.
Just to answer your question, it's 35. Leon, your thoughts on the rematch? Leon.
Sorry. I wasn't listening.
It's okay.
Sorry, I was looking at a Vine of Eddie Hearn raging about podcast people.
That's probably more interesting than what we were talking about. Jacobs versus Mora rematch. Any thoughts on Friday?
That first one was quite funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they all, let's just hope they do that again, but without injuring each other, because it was quite fun. But I mean, whether or not it means much, not really. All you can do is hope. I'm going to be more positive and hope for a good fight.
I hope.
Go
on, Neta.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, by and large, outside of unifications at middleweight and everything, there aren't a lot of fights necessarily that mean something. But I think Mora provides a difficult challenge to Jacobs stylistically, the same way that kind of Pirog did. He moves in a very similar way. I think that's a big part of the reason why he managed to catch Jacobs early in that fight. He managed to drop him, hurt him, and everything. And that's essentially why the rematch wound up happening, because of the fact that the first fight was fairly close. Jacobs hasn't been able to necessarily get some of these other big names in the ring. So I mean, why not run back a fight that was that ended on kind of strange circumstances? And I mean, it was a good fight, the first one, before it finally ended. Kind of without much of a
controversially
great ending. Yeah. Well, I don't really want to say controversially, but I mean just strangely. It wasn't. It wasn't like the real impactful ending where it's like you're like, okay, yeah, this guy was the better fighter for sure and absolutely. But I mean, I like the fight. I think people are just too negative. I mean, the first fight was a good one. This fight I think will be a solid one, and it's like it's a guy that. I know I'm gonna get shit for this. Mora was calling out Golovkin years back, and he didn't take the challenge. But Jacobs is fighting now.
Oh, you said it.
Oh no! Turn your Twitter off for a couple of days, Naoto, man. You're gonna get some feedback.
You're the one who's spreading that.
Nah, it's him and Lukey, man. Him and Lukey.
All right.
Making it seem like more this.
All right. I think.
Tim Latins.
I agree with you. I think Mora probably gets stopped in the mid rounds, but I hope he can pull out some type of lunky punch again. Even in the first fight, though, like Jacobs, it was a bit of a shot that kind of caught him, and he wasn't really hurt because the way he reacted, he was like, the way Jacobs reacted to going down, he was like, yeah, you got me, and then his legs didn't seem to be there for the first, for the remainder of the round, but his senses seem to be there, so I don't know. I hope Jacobs could. I hope Mora can kind of catch him and do something. And I don't know. I don't like Jacobs. There's something I just don't like about him. Sorry, KH, if you're listening, man. But sorry. Yes.
Cam, is that not the best punch Mora's ever thrown in his career?
Probably.
Potentially. Yeah.
But that was Jacobs' stupidity. He just walked in hands down. He thought he had Mora gone. So
I think he'll knock him out quite quickly. Actually.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you, Cam. I don't like Jacobs either. It seems like when I watch Jacobs fight, it seems like he's hiding something. Like he's hiding weaknesses. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You can tell he's not that good. If you know what I'm trying to say.
He's hiding glass.
He's hiding glass, and I just think he's overrated in my opinion. I think he's good, but people make out like Jacobs is this great fighter. I think he's hiding a lot of weaknesses, and he will be exposed soon. But yeah, as for the fight, I'm not even interested in this fight. I'm more interested in the fight on the undercard, the African brother, Richard Comey.
Yeah, Comey versus Robert Easter Jr.
Yeah, he's got his world title shot. Hopefully Comey can win. African brother. Hopefully he can do the business graduate from the prison canteen. Hopefully he can get his hands on that world title. He might knock out Robert Easter Jr. though.
He has got a higher knockout percentage, and he is a bit of a road warrior. I think he's fought in Denmark a couple of times. He's fought at York Hall in London a couple of times. He has been around. He's fought in the States, but I watched a bit of Comey today, and I don't know. Him and Robert Easter both got a similar style. They got that left hand low, chin tucked in behind the left shoulder, but Easter's got such a reach advantage. And the thing about Easter is he uses his advantage, he uses his height, he uses his range. Where Comey sometimes, he does good body work with Easter. Easter's more of a headhunter. Comey does go down to the body, but sometimes Comey gives up his range. Maybe you need to do that against Easter just to get on the inside, but he doesn't seem that comfortable fighting in the inside. He's more of like a mid to long fighter. So,
mid-range.
Yeah, it's going to be...
Mid-range hooker.
I'm actually looking forward to this fight, to be honest.
Yeah. It'll probably be the fight of the card.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Easter's hiding glass. I think Richard Comey will knock him out.
I mean, if he was hiding glass, I think he would have showed it against Mendes, because Mendes can crack a little bit. You know, he did manage to hit Easter clean a couple of times. But I mean, this is a fight where I think it's just gonna come down to who the better skilled fighter is, and I actually think that's Easter. I think overall he could do a little bit more than Comey, and he just seems more comfortable. I think Comey probably hits harder, but it's gonna be a matter of really landing that power. I think Easter is gonna get Comey before Comey gets Easter.
Yep.
I could see it potentially being, like at best, it could potentially be like a fight of the year candidate type of fight, though, depending on exactly what goes on in there. If Comey can especially catch Easter by surprise early. But I think once Easter gets into a rhythm, he's going to have a lot of trouble doing that.
Yep. And
I'm gonna put some cheeky money on Comey by knockout.
Some cheeky money.
Is that on Oak here, Cam, anywhere?
Well, it's Spike in the States, so we'll get it a week
Sunday,
later on.
Saturday.
Yeah, we'll get a week later on Saturday night on Spike UK at 10 p.m. So that's just pathetic.
I can't believe I was made to wait a week to watch the Ghost lose.
Oh man.
Really? Damn.
It's shown a week later.
Yeah, Naoya, it's weird. So, for example, if there's a fight on the Friday or Saturday, Spike UK will show it a week later on Saturday night at 10 p.m. when no one cares.
It used to be the next Saturday, didn't it? It used to be Friday night. Sorry, this Saturday after. It's
on YouTube or Daily Motion by then, so no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a dumb.
As
though it's a pay-per-view back in 2006 or something.
Exactly.
What a silly channel, man. That's a joke.
I watched boxing in the 80s and 90s.
Exactly.
Why would you want to watch anyways Guerrero lose to a cab driver?
Man, make sure you record that on your VHS player.
Guerrero is useless.
Right, let's move on, unless anyone else has got anything else regarding that Spike card. Chew or Leon? Nope. Alright, let's talk about Chocolito versus Cuadras at the... Is it at the Honda Center?
No, it's at the Forum.
Oh, it's at the Forum, isn't it?
Fabulous Forum. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight, and as mentioned, Cuadras and Kamage, they're on the undercard, just going to beat the shit out of each other for 10 rounds. But you start with Cuadras Gonzalez. Naoya, give us your thoughts.
I mean, it's really an intriguing fight, and like when it first got signed, I was thinking I was filled with the idea of like wow, like that's a great fight, and also like wow, like that's a dangerous fight for Gonzalez. This could be one of these fights where you see a guy who's all of a sudden got a little bit of a fan following behind him now. You could potentially see a lot of that upended by Cuadras. Not even necessarily just if Cuadras were to beat him, which I think is possible, but the fact that he can be such a spoiler. He's a guy that it's weird because I see a lot of these people. I guess they've really never watched Cuadras in the past before, because there's a lot of people that are saying like, oh, Cuadras is a puncher and this and that. I mean, he has a good knockout percentage. I mean, 27 knockouts and 35 wins, but he's a guy really that if you can crack, he's gonna get on his bike. He's gonna start hitting and moving. I've compared him to Lara and Canelo. Funny enough, is like I think he's Lara with his feet and he's Canelo with his hands. He's got good hand speed, good combinations, but he can move around the ring like nobody's business. He's probably the best mover at super flyweight or below. If not all the way up to featherweight even. I mean, the guy can move around the ring really well. He can spoil you if you can hit really hard, which he did to both Luis Concepcion, who's now a current champion, and as well as the guy that he won the title from, Cesar Kinsarungvisai. He once he felt their power, he knew that he had to outbox them as opposed to slugging with them. on the inside or at mid-range. And so he did that. He's one of these guys that can do multiple different things. He can give different looks depending on what somebody like Gonzalez is doing. I think the key factor with it is kind of something that I alluded to with Inoue, is the fact that Cuadras tends to be more improvisational. So he's a guy that, he'll keep his hands down, he'll taunt you, he'll try to do some Roy Jones type tricks. But in doing that, there's a very small margin of error. And against somebody that's as technically brilliant, especially at cutting off the ring and keeping his guard up and kind of rolling in from his defense into his offense the way that Gonzalez does, it can be really dangerous. So, in spite of the fact that Gonzalez is a pretty good favorite in this fight, because of the fact that I think just like by virtue of name value, and not a lot of people really know who Cuadras is like that, I think that it's really a 50-50 type of fight, maybe like a 55, 45, 60, 40 type of fight, possibly just edging it to Gonzalez. But again, this is a guy that I think is the best boxer, just technically skilled boxer that Gonzalez has fought since Estrada, albeit in a different way than Estrada. Estrada was really more of a good guy that was excellent on the inside and the mid-range. He took the short little steps and could move his head and torso in pretty much the same way as Gonzalez, like almost mirroring. And with Cuadras, it's a lot more mid-range to outside. He can box on the inside as well. He can trade some leather with you on the inside and do really well at doing that, especially because his hands are so fast. But he's a guy that comes at you at strange angles. He'll throw these kind of weird overhand rights and then left uppercuts, and he improvises. He really doesn't use the same combos over and over again. So I think that can potentially give Gonzalez some trouble as well, especially if Gonzalez looks the way he did against Arroyo, where I thought he came in kind of like heavy and bloated, and he doesn't look as lean as he did when he was at like 108, for instance. He has looked pretty good at the 7-day weigh-in, for instance. Though recently, it's looking like he's going to make the weight just fine, which he should, obviously, but not necessarily be as bloated as he was for the Arroyo fight, which is, I think, necessary, because if he comes in plotting at all against Cuadras, it's going to be really difficult for him to cut off the ring against the guy that's probably the quickest and most fleet-footed opponent that he's ever fought. So I think it's I just think it's a solid fight. I think it's going to be a close fight for as long as it lasts. And, what do you guys think?
You kind of jumped the gun a bit, because I was going to ask you about the weights. Since you and Kimo got me into Gonzalez, he's been a beast coming up through the weight classes. And I totally agree with you regarding the Williams-Arroyo fight. I was a bit disappointed. He looked a bit fleshy. He plodded a bit. He just didn't seem to have that. That something. He just had something missing from previous fights that I've seen of him. Yeah. With Cuadras being a career super flyweight as well. I know Roman Gonzalez has fought at this weight before, but it's probably most just a fight where he's fighting. I think there were fights when he fought back in Nicaragua.
Busy.
Yeah, stay busy in Nicaragua. Do you think? I don't know. You kind of answered the question before, but do you think Cuadras is going to have the advantage regarding the weights, or Gonzalez is? Do you think he's going to make weight a bit better for this fight?
Just in the general scheme of things, I do think Cuadras has the advantage. I think the big part of the reason why Gonzalez has moved up in weight is similar to kind of Robert Gorel. The reason why he moved up in weight is because there's incentive for him to. He's kind of ate his way into the divisions as opposed to naturally growing into it. I think, really, if he really wanted to, if he put his mind to it, he could still make 112 very easily, which is, I think, why the WBC actually just recently made a ruling saying that he could keep his 112 belt even if he wins, even if he beats Cuadras. And then, from there he can decide what he wants to do, in theory. If he wanted to campaign at both weights, maybe defend both titles simultaneously, jump back and forth between the weights or what have you. But I think it's really just a matter of him trying to make sure that he gets that HBO money is the reason why he started moving up in weight to begin with. I think otherwise he could potentially still be at 108 if he was really concerned about being at the best possible weight for it to have an advantage in order to actually defeat opponents as viciously as he has in the past, as opposed to recently where he's not necessarily the same kind of knockout artist that he was at the low weights. It's really more of an accumulation thing up at 112 and most likely at 115. And whereas Cuadras is a guy that, going all the way back to when he won his gold medal in the Pan Am Games, he was weighing 119 fight day as a bantamweight essentially. So, making 115 24 hours before is no big issue to him. but he's also like a full, strong, and fast super flyweight. So I mean, he's a naturally bigger guy. He's a little bit quicker, and a lot of the times when a guy that's like a power puncher and moving up in weight to fight kind of a slick technician, that doesn't always necessarily turn out too well. I mean, if you look at like Trinidad versus Hopkins, or I mean, De La Hoya even versus Hopkins would be a better example. But it's it's a difficult thing to manage. Usually, the guy that's a smaller guy coming up has to be like really technically more skilled in a significant fashion than the guy he's going up against. And I think that Gonzalez is technically more skilled than Cuadras, but Cuadras has a lot of physical talents that Gonzalez really can't match. So it's like he has to make up that physical gap with the technique.
Yep. Just quickly, just reading on BoxRec, is Tom Loeffler K2 promoter of Cuadras? Because it says the promoters of K2 and Tekken.
Yeah, well, Cuadras is promoted by Tekken.
So K2 must have someone on Undercard or something, or?
Well, I imagine so.
Or do you think they still have some relationship from when Gonzalez was on the Golovkin's undercard?
Yeah, maybe some options on him for putting him on the undercard.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, possibly that, and then also the fact that I know Taken they actually signed a lot of fighters from Mexico and like pretty much all the Americas, Central and South America and stuff. So I think from looking at the card, I'm actually looking at it right now. I'd be willing to bet most of those fighters are Taken fighters as opposed to K2 fighters. I think really the only guy that they have a working relationship like that is Cuadras, where they co-promote him. I think. Is Gonzalez where they co-promote him. Cuadras, I know, Taken promotes him in Japan, and then I think Pueblo Boxing promotes him in Mexico.
Yeah, nothing for something in chat saying Ryan Martin's promoted by K2, who's pending a lightweight fight against De Los Santos.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, both of them are promoted by Taken, which is a big part of the reason why Gonzalez Cuadras got made as quickly as it did. But I mean, I am hoping though too, if Cuadras does manage to upset the odds, upset the apple cart and everything, that that it just it doesn't necessarily put any shade on HBO and like the big networks showing the lighter weight classes. Then I don't necessarily think it would. If anything, I think Cuadras could become a star in his own right, or even possibly a bigger star than Gonzalez, because he would have a bigger fan base to draw from. Pretty much the whole of Mexico and Mexican Americans and such. And then also the fact that, I mean, he's a really good self-promoter. I think, he's been talking a lot of crap going into this fight against Gonzalez, talking about how, he's got the medicine to solve Gonzalez, and Nicaragua's going to cry, and how he's going to bring shame to Alexis Arguello because he's not going to be able to get the fourth weight title and all kinds of stuff.
Talking some smack.
Yeah, big time.
All right, Chew on undercard. I mentioned it earlier. Kamagai Soto Karas rematch. I shit on the original, even though like people were saying, "Oh, it's fight of the year candidate." Blah blah blah. There was just no X factor for me. Both guys could take each other's shots, and it was just looked like a slapping contest at times. So, you got any opinion on it?
I just agree with what you said. With that said, it should be an interesting fight. I mean, you're guaranteed action. You're guaranteed punches landing on the other guy's face. It's not going to be a chess match. It's going to be checkers.
Yeah.
And I love a game of checkers, so I'll watch that.
Leon, any thoughts?
Yeah, it should be fun again. I have no issue. There was a good fight last time. They're at the same level, so at least it's kind of it's competitive between the two of them. So for that card, it's a good it's better than anything that's on the Matchroom undercard, isn't it? Or as it would improve that card if that fight was on it.
Naota, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't been on the same level. Honestly, I think Soto Cross is really a better boxer than Kamagai is. I think it's really just more that the way Kamagai fights and the way Karas's mentality is that he gets drawn into that slugger match as opposed to
they merge well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if Soto Caras could use a little bit more of his skill set, I think he would beat Kamagai. And I could think he could potentially do it fairly clearly. It's just one of those things where as soon as you hit him, he wants to just start trading, and trading with Kamagai is just an extremely bad idea because the guy's chin is stupid. It's I have yet to see the guy hurt. Probably hit him with a fucking bat and he won't go down. So it's really just, I think a lot of it rests on Soto Cuadras. Exactly how he chooses to fight. If he chooses to get into a slugging match, Kamagai could very well hurt or even stop him because Soto Cuadras has been hurt and stopped before. Otherwise, it's a pretty much equal match in terms of their ability to slug and fight on the inside. But if he wants to box a little bit more, if he chooses to be a little bit more of a timing type fighter, I don't necessarily think that would completely take the steam out of the fight. I think it would still be an excellent, fun to watch fight, because Kamagai will keep bringing it. But I think Soto Cuadras should be favored, just by virtue of the fact that he could do a few more things in there that Kamagai can.
Yeah, and just lastly with this card at the forum, with Gonzalez, headlining now, have you heard anything about ticket sales? Have they been good, bad? I know I spoke to Black Ski Match Joe, he said they haven't been that great, but you got to take what Joe says with a pinch of salt.
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't really kept an eye on how well they've been selling, so that's kind of up in the air.
Fair enough. All right, quickly have a break.
Real quick. Now Inoue is going to be there though too. Him and his promoter Hideyuki Ohashi, they're gonna be in the house, so they're trying to get that unification popping. So
he's going to be in the house.
Interesting that
with his hand in the bucket of ice.
Sorry?
With his hand in the bucket of ice.
Exactly.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
No. I was just saying, they're going to be there. Funny enough, is Hideyuki Ohashi fought the great Ricardo Finito Lopez back in the day, so he's a guy that knows about putting it on the line against, the best fighter.
Oh, was that Japanese fight with the afro?
No. The dude with the afro was Yoko Gushiken. He's an old timer, man. He was like one of the all-time greats back in the 70s for light flyweight.
Just again quickly, I know we need to get off the subject, but if Inoue versus Gonzalez happens, it makes sense for it to be in Japan, right?
Yeah, it would make a significant more degree of sense for it to be in Japan because Inoue has yet to make his U.S. debut, but I don't know. If anything, I'd imagine that that fight wouldn't happen next, even if they agree to it. In theory, I could see it being kind of like a Kovalev war type situation where HBO would want to build that up. Because I think Inoue could make a lot of fans in the U.S. the way he fights, and especially because they normally have their big New Year's card. I could see Inoue doing New Year's in Japan against either Concepcion or Ancas, and then potentially them having like one fight each on the same card in the U.S. next year before they fight each other maybe next summer. I could see something like that in theory happening.
Slowly build it up.
Yeah.
Marinate the shit out of it.
Yeah, they could do that, or they could just bring Inoue over right away. Because the thing is, Inoue, the thing that I like about him is he has guts. He's showing that he's willing to fight the best of the best, and I think Ohashi is that way too. The fact that he was a guy that did that too, and so Inoue kind of takes after him in that regard as his big star fighter under his own promotional banner.
Quickly, Naoto, was I right in reading that Inoue wasn't happy with his performance? He thought he didn't perform that well yesterday.
Yeah, well, he thinks highly of himself. He wanted to knock Kokia Jim out of there.
I was pretty shocked when I read that because I thought he performed really well, but it shows that he's very self-critical.
Yeah, he is. He's he's one of those guys that he wants to prove himself. He wants to prove himself like above and beyond. That's the reason why he jumped from 108 to 115, fought the very best guy out there. And that's the reason why he wants to be pound for pound and everything. He even said it on, I think, one of his interviews. He wants to be the pound for pound number one. That's what he wants. A lot of these fighters, they beat around the bush and they say I don't make those lists and you can rate me wherever and however. No, now he says, I want to be known as the best fighter in boxing. So I want to fight the guy that's considered the best fighter. I want to beat him and show everybody who I am, what I'm about. And that's the reason why I'm a fan of the guy. I really like watching him because he wants to go out there and prove without a shadow of a doubt who he is as a fighter and really put himself to the test in every way possible so that nobody can deny what he's achieved.
Yep. All right. Quickly have a break. Name check the people in the chat. give them some props for joining us. Tico, BSH316, Africa Shah, Nunez83, Kevlar, Mr. Dermo, Nothing for Something, Scores Fam, I think that's my boy Scorsese, Overbruv, BRD Hey, J Sweet the A-Side, PM Versus, Supermaster, Mungo Sled, Josh is back. He's been away, but he's back. STE01277 and 1516 guests. Thank you, guys. The guy who toppled my Argentine boy Cuenca, he's back. Trevor he's fighting Keita Obara in Russia. Rest of the schedule, I'm trying to look through it. Nothing really else comes to mind. Hellenius is an 8-rounder in Finland.
That Obara fight actually should be pretty good. I need to try and see if I can find a video for that, because that dude can punch. He's 16 wins with 15 knockouts. So that dude, and Troyanovsky's a puncher himself. So I mean, I think that could be a pretty fun watch.
Nice. I don't think no one's picked up in the UK, so Leon will have to catch a stream somewhere. But that's it.
I've got that.
That's it for me, guys. I've got nothing else I really want to talk about. You guys?
The Fury stuff, but I mean, it's just a shambles, isn't it? That's all I really want to say.
I think that sums it up. We don't need to add anything. Yeah. My boy MV2, you want to discuss anything?
You just give me 1 second. I'm just loading up boxing, seeing I'll find something. I will find something. Go in the auto first.
Well, Amir Khan apparently thinks that Brook is making a mistake by bulking up. I guess he thinks that it would have been better for him to be quick, and be slim and everything. But who knows? I mean, you never know how much he might have been eating before those weigh-ins and all that shit too.
Yeah, like Khan didn't add man boobs on when he was adding weight.
Yeah, Amir Khan to just.
Well, he's probably speaking from experience.
The funny thing is, it's the way these guys speak beforehand. Yeah, the extra weight will be good. I won't be dehydrated. I'll have more power. And as soon as he lost, he was like, yeah, that weight's not for me. I felt sluggish. It's like, we all knew that in the first place, man. Come on.
Well, he didn't look sluggish. I think it was just an excuse. It's just an easy excuse for him to say that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Cuadras and Gonzalez right now at that Dodgers game, and they threw out the pitch and everything. Yeah, man. Cuadras is bigger than Gonzalez, but definitely.
True, have you dug anything out?
If Gonzalez weighs as much or outweighs him on fight night, it's because he's been hitting the chips and the chocolate brownies.
Chew, have you dug anything out of the dungeon of boxing scene?
Nothing really happening except the Triple G Kell Brook fight.
Yep.
I see Kid Galahad's dropped cash on Brook. Quote. I can't see how Golovkin wins.
Yeah, you can only put 50p in there or something.
Kid Galahad's opinion, that's rock solid.
Well, look, I think his brother started putting drugs in everything now. I read either high as a kite or it's just deluded. You can't take him seriously because he's deluded because he's in the camp. So he said that Kell Brook does everything better than Triple G, then it's a lie.
I'd be a shit boxer if I was in a camp with someone and they weren't that good or they were going to lose. I'd just say he's a good kid but he's going to lose, and then the camp would just give me the cold shoulder. Like my trainer would probably just sack me and say, "No, you can't do that."
Fucking Kid Galahad, man, it's like sex, drugs and rock and roll over there in Sheffield, man. Fucking gambling. No, that shit, man. He's some boy.
I feel like there's some people who I've done this myself, so I'm not criticising them. I think there's a few people out there just go, it's only an opinion, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put out that Brook wins, because if he does win, I'm a god on Twitter for a week. You know what I mean?
For a week.
If you lose, fuck it, doesn't matter. So it's just one of them.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, real quick. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say, your boy Marlon Tapales is gonna be fighting Naoya Inoue's little brother Takuma on New Year's, for that bantamweight title. Takuma's living up to Big Bro's expectations. He's trying to win a world title on his 9th fight.
I wanted to ask you about the Inoues because there was another Inoue Koki on the undercard. Is he related or just namesake?
Yeah, he's their cousin.
All right, got another beast in the family.
Yeah, he's actually a light welterweight, so we'll actually probably see him, in the U.S. and the U.K., fairly soon, fairly often, and such. As long as he holds up anyway.
You beat me to it. I was just going to tell Cam about that fight, and you beat me to it. Everybody, Danny Swift Garcia, 40% off everything. Promo code DSGLD.
Have you seen his clothes? His clothes are fucking horrible, man.
That's why they're 40% off everything.
Shit.
That's because you're old, Cam.
Nah, even the young people are not rocking that shit. They're not jumping out of foreign cars wearing that.
All you need to do is you need to go to dsgofficial.com. That's dsgofficial.com. Labor Day sale.
And then Danny Garcia will steal your credit card details.
Yeah. Like some Chinese person would be dumb enough to create a fake DSG account, right?
Lim, you're back. You want to add anything before we leave?
No, man. I just think it's kind of funny. I'm actually kind of excited about this Triple G fight. I really want to see how much of a match it's going to be. And it's ironic because I actually just got out of the gym right now, and I'm training in my Grant gloves that are actually signed by Triple G. So I guess I was paying homage to him without even recognizing it. But
hey, Dan, your thoughts on Chocolatito versus Cuadras and potentially Inoue? Go.
Bro, you can't put me on the spot like that, man. I need 30 minutes of prep time to talk about these guys. But no, I'm pretty excited about that fight actually. I like Cuadras. I think Cuadras is a really good fighter, Naota, but I feel like he's not the kind of guy that has enough gears to give Chocolatito problems. I really do rate Cuadras as a world-level opponent. It's just that I feel like he's really good against one single type of opponent. And even though I see him giving Roman Gonzalez problems in the first 3-4 rounds just because of the height discrepancy, and I think it's going to be the biggest size difference, right, Naota? That Roman's fought in the past 5-6 fights. I think he's fought a long time ago. But
in terms of weight, yeah, but not in terms of height. He's fought taller guys.
Yeah, right. But I mean, just in terms of Cuadras, I think he's a good rangy fighter. What I've seen from him, he seems to do well in terms of dictating the pace and keeping his opponent at range. And he can dart in and out when he wants to, which is something I actually like about him. He doesn't just stay on the outside. He actually engages with his opponents when there's an opportunity that presents itself. But I still think Gonzalez is a little bit too cagey. He's too good at cutting the ring off. And he's kind of like Golovkin in that sense that he knows how to throw away certain punches to set up the next one. And that's why he's a world level pound for pound type of guy. So I'm excited about that. I think I'm actually going to go to that fight. Tickets are pretty cheap at the Forum, so I'll probably check that out. Regards to Inoue, I still think he's a little bit too green for Gonzalez. He gets hit a little bit too much for my liking, but obviously that comes with the territory, like Big Bro Floyd would say. But hopefully that happens, a couple years down the road. But all in all, it's at least we're getting something, right, guys? I'll take this week of boxing over last week's any day, right? Where we actually have stuff to talk about, and even though it's a bit blasphemous, at least we have something to entertain ourselves, which is pretty much, the least that we can ask for, right?
I agree.
Yep. But anyways, other than that, it was a blast having everyone on the show. I'm so sad that I missed Jose's trolling barrage. I heard a little bit about, Klitschko versus Kell Brook, and that's when I had to call in and just cut the line off because that shit drove me crazy, man. I was warming up and I was laughing my ass off because I was listening to you guys, and I just I lost it when he said that shit. So shout out to Jose for always making me giggle.
Jose,
he's a good guy. That one, even though he may say some outlandish stuff from time to time, he certainly knows how to keep boxing in our minds, like the great Oscar De La Hoya. That's why he's a great promoter if he ever goes that route, because he'll always make us talk. Why not?
All right, thank you, Lim, and thanks to Chu, Naota, Leon, and everyone else that was on the show today. All the people in the chat and all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back next week. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Oh, dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burning you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kell, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
It feels great. Great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate. You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand you, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side? But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you? He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you ate for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.